Imu is here with his name being revealed, his devil fruit, the devil fruit being revealed as well, an absolute monster who looks so cool with his awakened original fruit that even is the complete opposite of Nika's. Let us talk about this in this chapter 179 or 1179 review of One Piece. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out so much if you do. Thank you for leaving a like, and of course subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality One Piece content like this. I post leaks, spoilers, and chapter reviews. So if you love One Piece, if you love reading the manga, you are going to love this channel, I assure you of that. Now, I'm going to show every page and I'm going to go through all of it. We have the first page, chapter 179, the advent of Neurona Imu. And of course, in the cover page, we have Ace, Otama, and Yamato taking several baby wild boars on a walk along a swamp. In the second page, we have the Gorosei reacting. Imu-sama, what did you say? The Holy Land, Mary Jo's Pub, Hall of Power. Don't tell me you intend to go to Elba. Please reconsider for you to descend to the lower world like this. And then we have a character who a lot of people are calling fraudulent for so many reasons. Garling walk in. Garling says, how can you all remain so calm? Do you really believe the Holy Land is already safe? And they say, Garling, with Shamrock's return, things do seem to be settling down. That's very interesting. So Shamrock has somehow sorted the situation with whatever's going on, surprisingly, clearly showing he is the strongest of all the current God Knights, not including the Gorosei. To continue, Garling says, but do you really think you can just sit here and do nothing? The lower world is resupply, operation is still going on. What kind of rulers are you if you can't even fill your people's bellies? Then we have the next page, page 3. What we need right now is military power to keep the world under control, and also the former marine headquarters, and of course the snail rings. Garling, where's the food? This isn't the life a celestial dragon should be living, and York is actually calling Garling. York is complaining, saying, I'm hungry, and Garling says, I already told you, your Holy Land is currently suffering from a shortage of supplies, and the only one of those things that we'll need to resolve is the mother flame to basically fix it. If you want to live the life of a celestial dragon, figure out a way to produce that energy now. And of course we have the Labo Phase power plant in Mary Jo's Pub. York is crying, saying that's not what I was promised. Come to think of it, your original body Vegapunk was rebellious as well. You'll need to take responsibility for that. And she says, I'm so, but he ends the call. And of course we have the next page, page 4. It's been nothing but disasters lately. All of this began after Nika appeared. Was it merely a coincidence, or was it truly inevitable? In any case, Imu-sama, you must not leave Pangaea Castle. Now this is very interesting because we see later on that Imu is actually bleeding as they begin to leave, almost like a curse is cast upon them to stay within Pangaea Castle, and then once they actually arrive in Elbaf, later on, slight spoilers, but they are bleeding. But the fact that they say you must not leave Pangaea Castle with exclamation marks does tie into the fact that there is something tying Imu down, whether this is a curse, a contract, it may be a contract because Imu's powers are related to contracts. Something is keeping Imu here, and it is evident with this page and specific line from the Gorosei. To continue, we will dispatch the admirals stationed at headquarters to Elbaf. Now this is something that's interesting. In the spoilers it just said admiral, but here it says admirals, and I saw in better translations people do confirm, yes, it actually says admirals. So it seems like this is such a serious situation that they don't even consider one admiral being enough, which makes sense. You have Loki, an Emperor's entire crew, all the giants of Elbaf, and you have the Nika, Luffy. There's no way one admiral would be enough. I don't even think one admiral would be enough for Loki or Luffy individually, so it being admirals makes a lot more sense. Whether you agree or disagree with that scaling, by the way, is completely your interpretation. That's just how I see it in my own opinion. Of course, I may be wrong, but you know, I hope I'm right. In any case, to continue, Samurai Gandhi says, I'd advise against that. They're already far too occupied with everything going on. Then we shall go ourselves, Imu-sama, and Imu responds, Walkery. There was no coincidence. Cast aside all lust, sloth, pride at once. And in the next page, a really cool page, Imu says everything was indeed inevitable. Rock says, I'll be back. Roger says, search the world. It seems Neptune has had a daughter. So these are basically Imu's viewpoints and reactions to everything. The fruit was stolen, implying the Nika fruit, and we can see Shanks. What lies in Elbaf as we see Harold dying? We investigated the captain of the ship that sailed through the fog. His name is Loki. He is Harold's son. And then we have Imu even asking, Whitebeard protected him. Who is he? And someone says, Monkey D. Luffy. Imu asks, who is that? Marshall D. Teach. Nefertari D. Lily. Joy Boy. Davy Jones. Do you yet persist in making Musaf? Mu desires Vivi as Imu looks at the Nefertari D. Lily photo. All of this began long ago as we see Imu begins to summon the portal, and they say, Imu-sama, I entrust the Holy Land onto thy hands, Imu-sama, but if you descend into the lower world, again, one confirming to us, actually, I don't even want to say it's like theory, just really confirming that something is tied to Imu leaving either the Holy Land or Pangaea's castle, but but there is something going on there. I really want to make a theory video on that specifically after this review, but just to continue, Garling says it is not within our authority to stop him, but Imu-sama, you must not leave the castle. There is no need to say that, since it is not something, sorry to correct myself, since it is something Imu-sama has already decided. There is no one who can stop him as Imu teleports. And then we have New World Elbaf, and things are actually pretty calm here because they basically won. We have the Sun Realm Western Village. Good is basically holding, as you can see, Summers. Look here, one of the demons is trying to piece itself back together. These bugs are trying to make fool of him. How is he still alive? Here, look, it's like a magnet, and you can actually see, so we're getting a better idea of the regeneration, and we'll see this in the next few pages, but their regeneration doesn't just spawn from them, it actually works like magnetism. This is a bit strange to me because this seems like a genuine nerf, but I guess this may be one of the ways around it, where if you don't destroy their bodies but simply split it, in that way you'd be able to actually restrain them. For example, if they were to destroy Summer's bottom half or top half, then it would just regenerate on the other part of the body. But if you don't destroy it but simply rip it in half and keep them separate, then it can't regenerate. It seems like only one part of a body, part of a immortal can exist at one point. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to say, if you actually cease to make it exist and destroy a body part, it will regenerate somehow. But if you just don't destroy everything and don't separate it, it can't regenerate because it still exists in the world, just detached from each other. So it seems like a very big weakness has been revealed. Your name's good, isn't that? I'll remember that. I'll make sure you die in the cruelest way, Summer says. Take a look at this too, and Zoro looks at the metal heart of Summers as we go to the next page. And the next page continuing, Zoro says, smash that thing, they won't be able to return to normal, and Summers is stunned. Really just putting a big nerf on their immortality right there. If it was just that easy, I wonder why characters like Garling haven't died already. You just have to destroy the heart. Maybe I'm missing something, maybe it's not as easy to destroy their metal heart. And we have near the Walrus School, Brook, Usopp, it's going to be okay. Man, looks like you guys broke some bones. How about becoming cyborgs? A very funny joke from Frankie, and they're saying, where's Chopper? And then we actually see the Quillen Mythical Zone guy just chopped up in pieces. Very funny. He says, I won't forget your name, Sanji. Say my name. Go on. And he says, nah, I forgot. Funny enough, I forgot too. I just call him the Mythical Zone guy. We see Gunko is still frozen in the ice, not possessed by Imu. And in the next page, this is insanely interesting what I'm about to say, but they say, why was the school frozen? It's not that it was frozen, all the thermal energy was drained. Damn it, even the food's frozen solid, this sucks. And we actually see Loki is there with Vegapunk is there too. And Ragnar, Luffy, and Loki are eating. I gotta give food to bro, Usopp, and bro. Before that, you're the one who needs to get back to normal. Hey Loki, that girl you froze a little while ago, did she die? Nah, that's instant freezing, so she's not dead. And this little guy here is the only one who can thaw that ice, so don't worry, she's not going anywhere. This really ties into the theory of the Galala ancient giants. Not only are they still alive in the frozen ice, but it seems like it was Ragnar in the past, maybe in the first world, or God knows when, probably the first world, but Ragnar clearly, I mean it's a theory so I don't want to say so clearly, but likely I should say, was the one who froze those ancient giants, and that also ties into the idea of what Rock said before, where an ancient giant leader is needed to lead those ancient giant pirates, which is why he wanted to recruit Harold, and of course Loki being the heir and the next king of the ancient giants, being Harold's son, also having possession of Ragnar being the one who can unfreeze them. Seems like that plot point is going to come into place where Ragnar and Loki will unfreeze the giants, being the only ones who can unfreeze it, and then Loki, just it being his birthright, will take charge of them, and him being so strong, I'm sure that'll be a motivating factor as well. But this really makes me wonder, is Ragnar's ice better than Aokiji's? Because it can't thaw, whereas Aokiji's ice can thaw. I'm not saying Ragnar's stronger than Aokiji, don't get me wrong, it's Aokiji is an admiral. I'm not talking about strength, I just literally mean the application of the ice powers. It's just really interesting to me, and maybe it makes sense because Ragnar is a mythical zone devil fruit, so it would make sense in that case why his ice would be mythical and maybe even better properties of Aokiji. Again, I'm not saying he's stronger than Aokiji, I don't want that to be misunderstood, just saying his ice may actually be better. Then of course we have Nami saying what? And in the next page, this is where it gets insane. Black flames, I mean huge, like it's so huge I even stuttered as I said it, just a huge eruption of flames. And do remember, this is Elbaf Island, and this one pillar of flame is next to the castle of giants where hundreds and thousands of giants can be inside, and even where Loki was actually in his full dragon form, he managed to fit inside that castle. That's how big that castle is. That is the biggest castle on Elbaf, the land of giants, and this flame explosion is bigger than it. So at the very least, this pillar of flame is close to being island level, and then we see erupting all over the island, so it's not just one. And then in the next page we have a massive pentagram circle in the sky. Again, this is Elbaf size, so this pentagram in the sky is far bigger than an island. I know it looks like it's just covering Elbaf, but Elbaf is supersized. Clearly not covering all of Elbaf though, only a part of Elbaf, so maybe you could argue that this pentagram is truly only island island size since it's not covering all of Elphaba. In any case, it's huge. Like in whichever way you like swing it, whether it's island sized or way bigger than island, it doesn't matter. It's huge and it's covering the sky. And everyone says, is that a magic circle? And Nami says, come guys, take a look at this. And we see the music starts to play. Zoom, zoom. Very interesting to note, but the music of Imu is the opposite of Luffy's Nika music. The Nika drums of liberation are always white text. This one is actually black text and black music boxes. The opposite of Nika's, clearly implying that this is the drums of oppression. Very funny that the Garp meme, the drums of oppression, I might actually just be true. It might actually be Imu-sama right here, but being realistic, I don't think it would be the drums of oppression. It could be. It could be so funny if Oda went with that and he wasn't aware of the meme, but I think it could be called the drums of evil, or the drums of domination, the drums of despair. It might be something like that. Given how Imu is going with the traditionally badass design, it could be a badass name. Then we see all around the houses and the trees. Again, these are all giant sized and you can see way bigger than giants, turn into these singing evil creatures saying dororo, bororo, growl, don don, and they're all singing. Again, it's like almost an awakened version of Nika's fruit, which I know sounds funny because Nika's fruit should always be an awakening already, right? But I do have a theory, and a lot of people have this theory as well. Like, I don't want to say I'm the first one. This is a theory as old as time, but Nika, the transformation that Luffy has, Gear 5, may only be a hybrid form. With this, maybe a glimpse of Luffy's true power. If he actually goes into the full Nika transformation, Luffy may be able to do something similar with his own fruit, but it wouldn't be evil creatures, it would just be happy, laughing creatures. That is an interesting theory I've come up with simply just from seeing all of that. Could be pretty cool. They say the forest, the trees, someone's powers at work. And then of course we have a massive bolt of, like, I don't even know if it's hockey or if it's the black energy, but the streaks coming from it are definitely hockey because people say Conqueror's hockey. And if that giant bolt in the middle is hockey and not devil fruit based, that is insane. I don't even know where to scale Imu if that's the case. But it begins to knock out some people and Zoro says that's Conqueror's hockey. Is it coming from the castle? The hockey, it's the same one we felt earlier. In Aurora's castle, in the throne room, Imu arrives coughing up blood because of what we talked about before, the contract or something being broken. But Imu actually begins to transform. So we see that wings begin to sprout from Imu. This may confirm to me that the transformation that we see of Imu in the final page may not actually be Imu's true form. That may be his devil fruit transformation. I don't think it's his final transformation because we see when Sabo was fighting him, I don't want to say fighting, surviving against him at the 6-5 Gorosei in a 6v1, which is crazy that people ever slandered Sabo for that. But we saw him in a devil-like true form, which may be his fully awakened form. What we may be seeing right now, like I talked about in my previous video, is the hybrid form, and actually getting the HD panels makes me truly believe that if I had to put a number on it, 80% confident that it is hybrid form. That's a very high number coming from me. Of course, it's not guaranteed. We don't know. Maybe Imu's just removing the clothes and unleashing his wings. Not likely, but again, you never know what's going on, but I do believe it's his hybrid form. And of course, we have all of the trees in the houses laughing, and the sky actually splits. Like, the sky fully splits from Imu's own blast alone, which is crazy. The sky splitting feat alone, Joy Boy level feat right there. And they say the Great One, it can't be. He came personal. Someone's there on the castle roof. And by the way, this is such an insane panel. Creator of the world government, one of the first 20. Power, Akuma no Mi, which is just devil fruit. Nothing, just devil fruit. King of the world, Saint Nerona Imu. And the editor says the advent, and my god, this guy looks so cool, so badass. I am getting the strongest Acnologia vibes I've ever gotten in all my life. It is so unbelievably cool. I'll be showing some fan art as well as the video will be going on, just so you can see them, and I'll credit them in the description. But you can actually see that Imu is on the house of the giants. It's a triangular house, and it actually looks like the Illuminati symbol. I think it makes so much sense, like the Illuminati symbol, creator of the world government, literally the devil himself. Like, you couldn't have made it more obvious. He is the devil, and there's so many theories as to what's going on with Imu, him having the original devil fruit, if devil fruit spawned from him. So many things are going on, and he just looks incredible. You can see the eyes around his smoke. He's got a skull around his tail, a very badass and interesting weapon. He's got tattoos on his arm as well. And as for the color of his skin, initially, because of the leaks, I thought maybe it was actually brown skin, and people still think that. that. It could be dark, tan, brown skin, you know, whatever you call it. But I do think this could actually be red, simply because he is the devil. And I do know sometimes, actually almost always, red is drawn in this shade as well, because it's a black and white manga. We don't know the color. It could be possible, again, he is the devil. He may just have a completely red skin, which again makes sense if especially this is his hybrid. He has a very cool weapon, and his weapon also has awakened clouds on it. I do wonder if his weapon is a awakened zone. That could be very interesting, reminding me so much of Shamrock, or if it's just his devil fruit affecting his weapon, because do remember his devil fruit was affecting the entire island of Elbaf, which is huge already, so his devil fruit could easily just affect his weapon. But man, does he look so cool. Actually getting Imu'S reveal, I don't even know what the main cast is going to do. I really don't know. The only chance they have of winning is the fact that Imu was summoned on a pentagram, so do remember, if they do a Joy Boy level hockey feat, Imu would actually be forced back to his Pangea cast. That's the only chance they have of winning this, is just simply de-summoning him because he didn't come physically. Other than that, I don't really see a way of them winning. Maybe Imu has a time limit because he's bleeding and he's got a contract. He can't stay here for too long or it's going to do too much damage. That's the only chance I think they have of even surviving this. I'm seeing a lot of people say that someone's going to die. Maybe Scopper's going to die. Maybe Jarul is going to die. Considering that Vegapunk did die in Egghead, it could always be possible. I can see that happening. Pedro died in Whole Cake Island. So people do die, and we had 2 deaths as well in Onigashima. It's never really a super important character, but it's an important character that tends to die. Just not like crazy important. No disrespect to anybody that did die, but you know, just being honest, it is what it is. But I could see someone on the likes of Jarul die. I mean, that makes sense, you know? He's an important character, very, very important. He's been important in this arc, but you know, he's dying worthy, you know? He's not like, oh my god, he's dead, my favorite character. Nobody's gonna say that, so I think Oda's just gonna be like, yep, that's free reign, I'm gonna kill it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below of this insane One Piece chapter. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out so much. Thank you very much. And of course, subscribe for a ton consistent and quality One Piece content like this. If you did like the video, if you did enjoy watching, you're not gonna regret subscribing. I post One Piece leaks, spoilers, and of course, reviews like this. So if you love One Piece, subscribe to the channel. But that's all from me, everybody. Have a wonderful day, guys, and take